Ball so hard, motherfucker, wanna find me. Hello everyone, Ryan here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the new Jay-Z album titled 444. 4 minutes 44? 444? 444. Or 4:44 in the morning. I think that's right, yeah. Jay-Z, a worldwide known superstar, phenomenon, rapper, businessman, just brand basically. This guy is known by everyone, and it has been quite some time since we heard music from him. Sure, he's done these odd features every once in a while, but they've been for like 2 or 3 verses, and then he basically bails out and just takes the money and goes. Now, many in the hip hop world, or even just outside the hip hop world, because of the insane album sales this man has had in the past, would consider Jay-Z a legend in the music world. I, for one, haven't heard every album that he's put out. He's got a massive discography, but I've only heard some of his biggest albums, including the Black Album, which I don't rate at all. I don't really think Jay-Z is doing anything on that album that interests me. His rapping ability doesn't really shine through, and the beats aren't that exciting. I didn't really rate that album. I've also heard his debut album Reasonable Doubt, which is actually a very good album. There's a lot of nice vocal guest features on that album that really give a good, nice soul vibe to the album. And of course the classic, the Blueprint, the first Blueprint, which is an amazing album. I absolutely love that album, and it's probably out of those the only one that I really love that I've heard by Jay-Z, and it kinda would be crazy if you didn't include this on your best of hip hop albums of the 2000s, because it's got to be up there. It really has to. However, though, this new album that he has released exclusively on Tidal, should I say, came pretty much out of nowhere. There was no hype for this, which is a thing that a lot of rappers do and a lot of artists do these days. It's a good way to just get people shocked and surprised when your album just drops out of nowhere. But to me, it felt a bit annoying that this was a Tidal exclusive, because again, it's just another way of Jay-Z kind of advertising his streaming service to get people kind of like, oh yeah, that still exists, so here it is, here's my album on this streaming service, you have to pay for this streaming service to hear my album. Which I suppose shouldn't really surprise me. I mean, it's Jay-Z, he's pretty much a businessman. He will do anything he can to kind of get the people, signing up to his shit. I mean, he couldn't host a dinner party really without asking his friends to sign up to some of his shit beforehand, just so Jay-Z can make some kind of money from it. He seems like that kind of guy to me anyway, as he is the kind of rapper that constantly references his money, his earnings, what he's done to kind of get to where he is, how he's pretty much like a billionaire at this point. And of course he does that on this album too, most notably on the track The Story of OJ, which seems to have garnered the most hype from this album. A lot of people have been talking about this song in particular, but I think on this track it seems as though he's kind of talking about how, he owned something that was worth 1 million, and then 4 years later it was 2 million, then it became 8 million, and how he's managed to gain profits from things that he's owned. But also with the chorus, it's kind of like he's, referencing black people as well, and how there's still a way to kind of break away from the stereotypes and the things that hold black people back, and you can still become rich and very successful. And yet at the same time, there'll still always be those mini stereotypes along with it that kind of hold black people back in a certain sort of way. It's definitely an interesting track, and I feel like I still don't have a full handle on the idea of what he's talking about here, but there is a beautiful Nina Simone sample on this song which really carries the song so well, and of course Nina Simone anytime sounds beautiful on a track. And this same arc about how, black people are held back in America is discussed again on the track Moonlight, which is quite a funny song because he references the Oscars on this track and how, we still living in La La Land, even when black people get pushed a little bit forward, they're still held back, in reference to the fact that Moonlight won the Oscar, but of course there was a flub and La La Land initially was what everyone believed to be the winner. I think maybe this is a little far-fetched because it's not like Moonlight ended up losing out or anything. It was just a massive mistake that they made at the Oscars. I don't think there's a conspiracy behind this. I think it was just some idiots messing up. But I suppose it makes for an interesting song topic. It just maybe seems like a bit too much victim acting here, like acting like, oh, you know, we're the losers every time, when in fact it's not really quite like that in regards to the Oscars. Now though, I must address the Kanye beef going on this album, the Kanye shots about, you know, their relationship, and pretty much it seems now that Kanye and Jay-Z are no longer. It's most prominent on the opening track Kill Jay-Z, which is a track where Jay-Z is kind of like tearing apart himself and saying how he's not really one to be trusted, and he's pretty much ripping apart his ego. But also in the, you know, second part of the track, towards the end, he's talking about Kanye West directly, saying how, like, you know, you dropped out of school, which is a reference to the college dropout, of course, and how he lost his principles. But I must talk about the line which I absolutely love, where he says, "But you ain't a saint, this ain't kumbaya," which I think is a really clever line. And at this point, I'm really hoping that Kanye responds to this, because it would be a pretty cool beef if something goes on between these two within the next few months. I'm not sure if it will. Hip-hop doesn't tend to do that much anymore, but that could be something that could start something really interesting. And then there's even more drama in this album too, as Jay-Z talks about what Beyonce was saying on her album Lemonade, where there were accusations that Jay-Z had cheated on Beyonce, and it kind of blew up last year and helped elevate the album Lemonade and brought a completely different perspective to the album, because this isn't something you would expect from Jay-Z and Beyonce, but maybe it did in fact happen. And on the track 444, we do get Jay-Z kind of opening up on this song, and the lyrics on this track are so damn good. I was not expecting something like this from Jay-Z. He really opens up and basically apologizes for what he's done, but he goes through so many different emotions and feelings on this track too. But it's in that third verse that really hits the most, because in this verse he references himself as being similar to Santa Claus in the children's eyes, and how if they found out that what he'd done, they would not see him that same way anymore. And even though before they saw him as a man that couldn't do any wrong, it would ruin the illusion of him. And all of this is backed by an amazing sample on the track that really fits in the soul vibe to this song and most of this album actually really well. And I've got to commend No ID on the production here, because this production is incredible. Track for track on this album, the production is just smooth as hell. It's just stellar, and there is nothing that I can say bad about this production, because it all just works so well. The samples just all fit perfectly. The track Caught Their Eyes features some pretty decent vocals from Frank Ocean on the chorus, and also Jay-Z does a bit of singing on this, and he sounds really quite nice as well. And the track Smile is another moment on this album that I really like because of that production. It's really smooth, it's really soft, and Stevie Wonder is in the background with the vocals as well, which is pretty damn cool. And also there's the reference to his mother being homosexual and how she had to hide that during her life for so long. It's another moment where Jay-Z just opens up so naturally, and it's kind of telling that with age, maybe Jay-Z has just felt more like he can just do this now, and he doesn't really have much of a care. I really like this. And of course he closes off the album with Legacy, where he's directly speaking to his daughter. But even aside from the lyrics on this album, which I do think are really good at points, I do like Jay-Z on this album for really well in comparison to what I've liked him in the past. It's really the production I think that stands out the most. It's No ID's beats and samples, everything just sounds so well made. And I have to say I'm really liking this album overall. Maybe I'm not loving it, but I think maybe it could grow on me. I think at the moment I would say it is a B, but who knows, I think this album could actually stand above the rest of the hip-hop albums by the end of the year. Do let me know what you think of this album in the comments. Do you think it's Jay-Z's best in years? Do you think this is one of Jay-Z's best ever? Do you think it's one of the best of the year so far? Let me know. I would really like to know what people are thinking of this. Make sure you subscribe if you like this review, and have a good day.